Hello there, Catherine Langman here, and back with you on the Productpreneur Success podcast. So welcome to the show if you are a new listener, and of course, welcome back if you are a long-time listener. Now, hands up if you felt a little bit like sales are a little bit slow right now, either right now this month or even just this year generally. It certainly has been an unpredictable year in terms of sales, in terms of the sales cycle. And life and the universe and everything seems to have changed at a pretty rapid pace this year, so it is pretty unpredictable. But I'm also hearing a lot of business owners sharing that they feel like sales are slower than they would like or expect, but then quickly kind of explaining this away by talking about the rise in inflation and the rise of interest rates, and that these things are starting to bite and maybe reduce consumers' spending capacity and confidence, which makes sense, right? And certainly, just about every time that you look at the news or, you're hearing a whole lot of economic doom and gloom, it's pretty hard to escape. I do try my best personally to avoid the news if I can, because I know that focusing on negative stuff too often really just serves to dampen our mood, cause our mindset to become negative and motivation to drop. And of course, all of that's just going to lead to less than desirable results. I think I try and remember that thoughts and feelings are what cause actions, and our actions are what drive results. So negative thoughts are not going to lead to positive results, unfortunately. But, we can't just ignore things either if results are down, right? So just, you can't just think about the $1 million a year business that you want in your dreams and then expect to manifest that into reality without the right inputs and actions. So today on the show, I'm actually going to be sharing with you some tactics that the biggest brands and the brands and online retailers are using to encourage consumers to spend more money. And I'm talking about more money per transaction as well as more frequent transactions. But before we get to that, I also wanted to share some really recent statistics that have been released that might actually help improve your confidence a little bit as well. So firstly, Australia's online shopping industry is now worth over $47 billion. That's just Australia. Internationally, in the developed world, it's also up. And the market size has actually grown in 2022 by just under 9%, so 8.9%, which kind of proves that more consumers are still choosing online shopping over brick and mortar retail. And our love affair with, that online retail therapy continues to skyrocket. And sure, the rate of growth might have slowed this year because, throughout the pandemic, it was growing more like 24% per year. So at 8.9% growth, it's slowed down. The rate of growth has slowed down, however, it is still growing. And internet search volumes have also increased by nearly 50% in Australia, and it's the same in developed nations around the world as well. And then the ABS, Australian Bureau of Statistics, has reported that online sales revenue in July 2022 rose 1.3% month on month, so we're kind of on par from the month before, but also rose 16.5% compared with July 2021. Of course, when we're talking statistics, it's not the same for everybody, that's the average, but it's there, right? And then alongside the growth of business to consumer sales, or B2C as we talk about, you are also seeing platforms like Amazon are taking off here in Australia. So Amazon has actually seen an increase of 55% of consumers in Australia now reporting to be looking at products on Amazon. I'm sure our American cousins are probably just amazed at how low that figure is. But the truth is that Amazon has been really quite slow to take off in Australia. But unfortunately, COVID seems to have helped accelerate that a little bit. And alongside the competition that small brand websites might receive from Amazon, we've all seen an increase in the cost of paid traffic as well. And this comes from the massive shift of businesses to the online business model over the last 2.5 years, thanks COVID. And that increase of businesses moving to an online business model has also increased the volume of advertisers on platforms like Facebook and Google Ads. And because, there's an increase in people wanting to buy advertising space, but the actual amount of space for sale hasn't changed that much. So that means that the cost of paying for that traffic and the ability for you to generate the same revenue and ROI from the same budgets is just not there to the same degree. And certainly not using the same strategies that might have worked pre-COVID anyway. So even though the volume of money that consumers spent online has grown this year, perhaps not as much of it is being spent with independent brands. And if brands have not adjusted their paid advertising strategies and budget, they may also have seen a real decline in conversions and ROI, which leads to that all-pervading feeling that sales are down everywhere. Hopefully, you'll now realise that isn't necessarily the case. Sales revenue might not have grown by nearly the same rate this year, but it's still grown. But our competition and costs have gone up as well, and we might not all be getting the same slice of the pie. So this episode is going to be all about some of the tactics that bigger retailers and bigger brands are using to get consumers to spend more money with them more frequently, so that hopefully all of you can emulate those tactics in your own businesses and ultimately enjoy a little bit bigger slice of the pie yourselves. Now, before we dive further into this episode though, I want to take you to my free website assessment quiz, which I think might be helpful for many of you right this minute in this moment in time, particularly if you are finding that sales are down for you. So basically, this quiz is designed to help you identify the number one problem impacting your online store right now and what you should do to focus on next so that you can start fixing it and start growing. This is the sort of quiz that you can actually do multiple times over the year or a couple of years, because when you fix one thing, then there's going to be another thing that crops up that you need to work on. So this is really for you if you are running an online store but you're struggling to generate enough sales or achieve consistent growth and you're just not sure what you should focus on to move forwards again. So basically you can take this free assessment to find out the best way to increase your e-commerce sales based on your own unique situation and where you are right now in your business. So if you want to do that, all you need to do is head to catherinelangman.com/assessment. Alrighty, without further ado, let's dive into the episode. We're going to discuss some of the ways that big retailers are getting customers to spend more money and how you can do the same too. Now, if you've ever left a store like Mecca or Sephora, or in my case, the supermarket, with a lot more than you thought you'd buy in your shopping bags, than, a lot more than when you went in, a lot more than you thought you'd buy when you went in, let me get that straight, then you'll know what I mean when I say that big stores know how to get us to part with our dollars. And they're doing it online as well. So it's not just in-person shopping experiences. They're actually tapping into consumer psychology to engineer this on purpose. Now, of course, when I'm talking about consumer psychology and how you can use it to your advantage as a business owner, it should go without saying that I'm not advocating any of us become manipulative assholes who set out to totally fleece our customers. Not at all. You guys all know that I'm about building brands with purpose, and generally my philosophy is to do good in the world and prosper. Secondly, in this episode, I'm not going to be covering the foundations of a high-converting e-commerce store. Hopefully, by now, you all know that you need to have things in place to make sure your website converts. Some basics like a mobile responsive website, fast-loading pages, intuitive navigation, trust symbols, and the right kind of content that your customers need to know, understand, and believe about your brand and your products. All of that stuff so that your website converts at least the average rate. And if you don't have that stuff in place, I've got loads of other podcast episodes and blogs, or you can reach out to us about one of our programs to help. So instead, this episode is going to focus on areas like how to increase your average order value, how to increase your frequency of purchase, and ultimately, with those two things in place, how you can then increase your customer lifetime value. Because if your website converts at, say, 3% and your average order value is $50 and your customers only buy from you once, you're going to find it really tough to compete with another brand whose website also converts at 3%, but their average order value is $100 and their customers come back to buy again 3 times within a 12-month period. So the business in the second scenario is 6 times more lucrative, in terms of revenue, and 10 times more profitable, because the more times a customer buys from you, the more profitable they become. So what are some of the ways that big brands entice us to spend more money per transaction, i.e. increase our average order value? Bundling is one of my favorites here because it makes the decision of, it makes the purchase decision for the customer a lot easier, rather than the customer having to figure out all the different things that they need and then to go through your navigation to find all of those items and add them to their cart separately. And of course, if there's a little bit of a discount involved on the bundle, then that's going to make it even easier again. But doing it all separately is just so much harder for the customer, and with a lot more resistance comes lower conversions. And of course, having a free shipping threshold is another tried and tested strategy to increase average order value. I'm actually seeing some great examples lately of using free shipping tiers to encourage incremental increases in order value. So as an example, I was shopping at the Wad Life yesterday, and they now have free shipping tiers where one spend threshold grants you free regular shipping and another spend threshold grants you free express or courier shipping. And they also offer an extra fee that gives you priority dispatch, so meaning your order jumps the queue in terms of when it gets picked and packed and sent out the door. And then they had another fee again that gives you insurance against damage or theft whilst in transit. And you literally, if you don't tick that one, you have to agree that the retailer is not liable for any damage or loss of parcel. So I didn't tick it, and I'm really hoping that my order arrives all right. But anyway, I know I've spoken also in the past about how True Protein uses free gifts with purchase to incentivize higher spend thresholds, and I'm pretty sure they use an app like Bold to trigger a pop-up spend tracker. It comes up on your screen, and that shows you visually how close you are to getting a free gift with purchase, which is pretty cool. But aside from those sorts of monetary-based incentives to spend more, some big brands take a leaf out of big brick and mortar stores to help increase spend per transaction, and it's all about time on site. Now, I'm not talking about using the IKEA strategy of confusing the heck out of your online store visitors so they have to spend ages trying to figure out what you sell or where to navigate to find it. I mean, have you ever had that experience in an IKEA store, like feeling like you're wandering through the wilderness and you're completely lost and you can't find the warehouse or the checkout or the exit? I mean, surely it's not just me. But lots of online stores are unwittingly giving their customers that kind of an experience, and it just leads to frustration and is more likely to increase your bounce rates rather than your average order value. However, a thoughtful, well-designed route to the checkout, including effective in-store layout experience, of your content and your products and your collections in your online store, can help to maximize impulse buys on top of, customers actually just getting what they intended. So for instance, you might tuck away essentials and utility buys amidst impulse buys, which is of course a classic strategy that, brick and mortar retailers use. So can your website architecture mimic this approach somehow? Use a bit of balance there, be strategic about it. So designing that, the shopper's journey by sprinkling in enough deals as well as product highlights to entice them to buy. And that is definitely the kind of thing that True Protein do really, really well. But at the same time, you don't want to offer too many incentives because, if you offer too many choices or excessive promotions, it can be really difficult for customers to make a decision, and it can end up being a bit annoying, driving them to abandon their carts, which of course is also a lot easier to do in an online store than it is in a physical brick and mortar shop. Another way though that you can design your menu and your collection and your checkout process so that it increases average order value is to use the strategy of framing, which is another psychological trick that retailers use. So framing is useful because scrolling through lots and lots of similar products gets really tiring for customers. We all have about the attention span of a goldfish, so we don't want to cause our customers to start zoning out or clicking away. So framing helps to do this, and it's because our brain is designed to pay attention when something's a little bit different, because it can, I guess in historic caveman times, something that's different could either be a potential danger or a potential opportunity. So framing or dividing content makes it a lot easier for our brains to intuitively make sense of, rather than everything blending in together, if that makes sense. Another simple way is using different font sizes, even if it's just a little bit different, is another strategy or a tactic to make it stand out to our customers, because subconsciously our mind is just picking up on it, and because our brain is naturally paying more attention to it, therefore we kind of feel like we like this product. So that can help. Time on site, though, is also about giving customers an amazing experience, because it's capturing their attention in positive, engaging and entertaining ways. So some examples that have captured my attention lately include things like product selection quizzes, which can help you figure out the best choice for you personally. Useful blogs that answer specific questions or problems. I know Adore Beauty and Nourished Life, they're two really stand out online destinations that do a great job of that, and frequently lead to me making a purchase, because I've been researching something online and their helpful content really shifted the needle for me. Also videos showcasing products or how to use them that's certainly going to increase time on site. This goes with that type product recommendations. I mean, that's a bit of an Amazon strategy. I love styled outfits. Like, if you have never been on the Bird's Nest website, you should go on there, and I think it should be required research for any e-commerce brand owner to do a bit of a purchase on there. Their styled outfits can keep you scrolling for a really long time. And another strategy there would be detailed customer reviews. I think that just, it's innately interesting for a potential customer to spend time reading and looking at all of that kind of content. Now, I'm going to pick on a couple here. So let me pick on product selection quizzes just for a moment, and the psychology behind one of the reasons that quizzes can help a customer make a purchase decision and increase the conversion rate is the average order value rate rather, is because it ties in with the idea that the more time a customer spends trying out a product, the more it feels like it's kind of already yours and you need to purchase it, right? And from a consumer psychology perspective, here's why detailed customer reviews helps keep visitors on your site and ultimately encourages purchase. Reviews and recommendations signal that a product is already tried and tested, so it feels safe. It works because, we're a herd species. We copy each other to show that we fit in, and because copying is also an easier cognitive process. It's the path of least resistance, right? So why does this lead to more sales conversions? Basically because we trust the opinions of of other people. It's that social proof side of things, the word of mouth marketing. It is the most potent, it's the most trustworthy, and therefore the most potent form of advertising. So next I want to talk about how can we increase repeat purchase rates with our customers so that we can enjoy bigger profits as we grow our businesses. And hopefully here it goes without saying that I want you all to be using email marketing as well as really engaging social content, both paid and organic, to entice your customers to come back and buy again. But aside from a time on site and aside from those, standard kind of foundational strategies to encourage repeat purchase, another strategy big brands use to increase conversions and spend is frictionless paying. So once we are primed to spend, you don't want to cause any reason to drop out of the checkout. And frictionless payment options such as one-click checkout, guest checkout, shop pay, where you have your saved payment and delivery details, they all help us to check out before any kind of, second guessing or, thinking comes in that might cause us to rethink that purchase decision. And additionally, things like buy now, pay later options like Afterpay also give the illusion of payment flexibility and therefore affordability. whilst also making it super easy and frictionless to check out, as you don't even have to get up off your bum to go and find your credit card details in order to complete the purchase. So something to think in mind there is how frictionless or how much friction there is in your checkout process. But what else are big brands doing to increase purchase frequency? So freebies or free samples with orders that you send out are the best ads and salespeople for your products, consistently boasting really effective response rates. By giving customers free samples, you demonstrate your confidence in your product's quality and performance. And sampling also reminds the customer that the power of the decisions, it's with them, because they can try something out before they make a decision to buy it. But why does sampling work? And here it's the principle of reciprocity at play. When customers receive something for free, they kind of feel compelled to give back by buying it, kind of to bring balance back to the relationship. And there is a direct link between samples and sales. Despite the cost of giving items away for free, sampling does pay off, and retailers have boosted sales by as much as 2,000% by initiating a bit of a low-risk product trial strategy to earn consumer confidence, and really it's driving that kind of cross-selling. So you're getting people to try something different to what they already have. So when a shopper places an online order, could you throw in a free sample to, so that they can try something else? You'll get them to try something else, and you also increase brand trust with them as well. Another strategy to increase frequency is using subscriptions. And from a consumer psychology perspective, the reason this works is because it becomes the default, because we are all a little bit lazy, right? At the end of the day, it takes a lot less mental effort to just stick with the default setting than it takes for us to have to cancel it, because it's not just about cancelling it. Then we know that we have to go and spend time and mental effort looking for an alternative solution to meet the same need. I guess loyalty programs as well, they're a really effective go-to strategy to help with repeat purchase. And this is something that the biggest e-commerce retailers consistently use to keep their customers coming back again and again. And some brands I see, and big online stores, I see offering tiers in their loyalty programs. So the more you spend over a year, the more perks that you unlock. And I know here in Australia, the likes of Witchery and Country Road, they do this. I don't know if you've ever joined one of those loyalty programs. I'm pretty sure Mecca do it, and I'm sure a lot of the big brands are doing it online as well. So that could be, and so long as you've got an app that manages a loyalty program, this would not be hard to deliver. And then, of course, scarcity is another strategy that really helps to boost order frequency and repeat purchase rate. So anything limited is going to create a sense of urgency, and that primes us to act quickly. And of course, you'll think, yes, sales type promotions, clearance sales, they are by definition limited. And I already know that you guys all know how to run a sale, so I'm not going to talk about that here and now. And I certainly don't recommend that you run lots of them in a year anyway. But there are other ways to build some scarcity into your business. So one strategy would be to emulate hotel websites, because you would see that they use this when they say like something like 4 rooms are available but 5 people are viewing them. But you can use that kind of strategy with e-commerce as well. You might have a really popular product that sells through fairly quickly. So if there aren't many in stock, tell people how many are left. And this kind of a strategy works because most of us want to avoid the pain of losing something, right? I know we don't even have it yet, but it's, we feel like we've lost it if we've missed out on the opportunity. Another way to use scarcity is to use limited edition products. And this really can work well to boost scarcity without discounting. So in one of my businesses in the past, we used this strategy a lot throughout the year. And so we would release limited edition designs. And when they were sold out, the only way you could get your hands on it was to buy it secondhand. So it worked really well as a method of encouraging more frequent repeat purchases throughout the year. Now, one caveat with that sort of a strategy is that you can't confuse it as being a new customer acquisition strategy. Having limited edition releases is about repeat purchase. It's not quite as much about winning the customer over in the first place. So you can't just rely on that as your only marketing strategy. And ultimately, you really want to have several of these strategies in place. It's kind of like the point of it is to be layering these strategies on top of each other so that you're able to increase the amount of money your customers spend per transaction, as well as how many times they purchase from you over time, right? Again and again. And the end result means that you increase your customer lifetime value and become a much more profitable business as a result. And who doesn't want that, right? So guys, this is how you win the e-commerce game in 2022. This is how you get the biggest slice of the pie. You don't get there by focusing on all the reasons why a customer might not purchase from you right now, right? Hopefully that makes sense. And I guess I just really hope that you find what I've shared with you in this episode helpful or inspiring in one way, shape or form. And I would love to hear if you have one or two ideas that you think that you will implement in your business. If you're listening to this and you're a member of our Rockstar Productpreneur Facebook group, I'd love you to jump in there and let me know if you're going to implement one or two of these ideas. And you've got to remember, a change in your results is only going to happen from you taking action and implementing what you learn. And in that regard, of course, you do have three choices, right? You can keep figuring it out alone via trial and error, or you can learn from someone else who already knows how to do it, or of course you can outsource it. And each of those three is a completely valid choice, and each will take varying lengths of time. And so if you would like to speed up your process of learning or implementing and getting results faster, please reach out to me, because there are a variety of ways that I can help you depending on the stage of business that you're at. This is what I do and my team do and love to do every single day. So whether you are looking for coaching to help you learn and implement these things, or of course, if you're looking for a team of experts to outsource to, we do both. So just head on over to catherinelangman.com/work-with-me to find out about those options. I will, of course, put that link on the podcast show notes page to make it easy for you. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, I would be forever grateful if you would share it with one or two of your business besties, especially if you know that they are looking to grow their brand or their e-commerce store this year. It's super easy to share. All you need to do is click on the icon next to the podcast on whichever platform you listen to it and copy that share link, and then you can message it to your friends. But for now, have a fabulous rest of the day and week, and I will be back on the show with you again next week. Bye for now.